All right, shalom, 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 shalom. I want to start off this lesson by giving all praises, going on to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Rachakadash, double honors to my elders and my apostles, the great millstone, which are the men that rule well. The men that taught us this truth, peace, blessings, and salutations as always be to the elect. And if I still sound funny on the recording, man, Salakia, I'm still a little under the weather, but trying to get this lesson in real quick, man, titled Salvation. The Spirit was on me to go into salvation and the way of our salvation because, I was out and about and I was thinking about the chariots. I was out with my family and, some of my family members know of the truth and things of that nature. And, we was talking about the chariots and how, at first it sounds kind of odd and something that, some people, especially when you first come up in the truth and, you grew up your whole life thinking that the chariots are UFOs and there's aliens in there and all that, and that's something that we believe through faith, man. We believe in the chariots of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai through faith. So that's something that, at first might seem a little strange when you first come up in the truth, but then you realize and you come to the realization, man, those are the chariots, those are the vehicles of the Lord, and those are the vehicles of our salvation. To us, it's a sign of deliverance. To Esau, it's a sign of destruction. Okay. And, like I said, the topic of chariots came up and how at first, when you first learn about it, it's kind of strange. And that's what reminded me of this precept, reminded me of the scripture right here that I'm going to read in Wisdom of Solomon. I'm also going to get Isaiah in the book of Matthews. And then, it's not going to be too long. I just wanted to touch on the topic real quick. It's a beautiful topic, man, honestly, because as strange as it may sound, man, those are the vehicles of our deliverance. While the rest of the world's going to bug out about it, we're going to be in those chambers. We're going to be in those chariots, free from all the indignation, man. Lord willing, we're a part of the elect. So this is the book of wisdom. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, and I'll start at 1. It says, "Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors," which is the exact lot that we're in right now. Lord's will, we're part of the elect, right? That's what we're doing right now. You see the men of the Lord out teaching in great boldness, and that's what we're doing. They Esau had made no account of our labors. The whole world, even our women, right? It ain't just Esau, It says before the face of such as have afflicted him. It ain't just Esau, it's the whole nation. Every nation, so like I said, the whole nation, every nation, man, even our own people have afflicted us. Esau is primary, but so did Ham, so did Moab, so did Ammon, so did our women, so did the wicked of our nation, everybody, man, So you see us, we're standing in great boldness and we're declaring the end, all right? We're declaring the prophecies, we're declaring the words of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, we're declaring salvation for our people. And deliverance for our people, right? And made no account of his labors, because this punishment was obviously for the whole nation, but the Israelite man got it the worst out of everybody. Out of the whole nation, we got it the worst. We had to see ourselves crumble and not be able to do anything about it, as powerful as we are as a people, right? But what it says, made no account of his labors, because no one accounted for what we did, right? No one cares. People could care less about what the Israelite man has done. Okay, verse 2, "When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for." Right, because the strangeness of our salvation, what's the part of the strangeness of our salvation? It's Yahweh Shai cracking the clouds with the fathership, right? His chariot is so big, you can't see where it ends. You can't see where it begins. You can't see where it ends. That's going to be strange to these people, and it sounds sci-fi, but that's because, in this world, you were conditioned to believe that those chariots are UFOs where green men are inside of. No, that's not scriptural. That's not what's in the Bible. What's really in the Bible is that those are the vehicles of our salvation. And since the beginning, they have been there. When we left Egypt, okay, what was guiding us? The chariot. Elijah, Salakia, was taken up by what? A chariot of fire. Those are the same chariots. It's the same vehicles. They just look different. All of them probably look different, When we left, it was what? It was a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. They get disguised as clouds, it's disguised as anything. And it's beautiful, man. That's, hey, the strangeness of our salvation. It says, I'll read it again. It says, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. And they, repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision, and a proverb of reproach. We fools accounted his life madness, and his end to be without honor. Right? So that's what these people look at us as. They thought our end was going to be without honor. And you Israelites that calling us bums and rapists, man, y'all are going to pay for that too, man. All right? Because what? At the end of the day, you're not getting picked up by a chariot. These wicked-ass Israelites that do nothing but play the blame game and false... Oh, and not just play the blame game, but also raise false narratives about us, when we're just trying to be sincere, looking for salvation for ourselves and our families, right? While they're bearing false witness on us, guess what? You too are going to be groaning for anguish of spirit, And you wicked nations, man, that did us dirty, that put us in captivity and made no account of our labors, you as well. It says, we fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of the Most High, and his lot is among the saints, right? That's what they're going to be saying about us, that's allotted salvation. Lord's will, we're part of that number. The strangeness of this salvation is beautiful, because really, it's only going to really be strange to them. See, to us, Salakia, hey, at the end of the day, it is going to be a strange sight to see. You're going to see a bunch of brown men, in the sky being taken up by spaceships. It's going to be strange. It's going to be really weird to see. It's a sight you've never seen before in this generation. That's why it's the strangeness of our salvation. And I keep harping on that because that's exactly, because really what happened was, I was talking to my woman and she was like, we looked in the sky, it was real dark outside. She said, is that a chariot? Is that a chariot? And I was like, it might be. We might have seen a chariot. I couldn't tell if it was a chariot or a star. And, it's funny because she said, oh, when I first learned about the chariots, I just thought it was a little strange. And I was like, that's funny because that's what the scriptures say. It's the strangeness of our salvation. Because in reality, till you learn it, because really with the chariots, it's all about faith, because most of us haven't seen them up close, right? So when you first learn about it, it's a little strange. But then once you learn, you're like, yo, man, that's the vehicles of our salvation, right? Isaiah 26:20, come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers. And those are the chambers that we're going to enter, right? And shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment until the indignation be overpassed. What's the indignation? That righteous anger of Yahweh B'Ashem Yahushai. When the missiles come, all right? That's why I'm going to read Matthew 24 because, it speaks about how, how we would be gathered from the four winds, the elect, right? And when that happens, the missiles are going to hit America and various other parts of the earth, but the Lord's going to pick up those that are destined for salvation. Abba Ratzazah, we're part of that number. It says, enter thou into thy chambers and shut thy doors about thee. Right. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment. And that's exactly what we're going to do, man. We're going to get picked up by the chariots and we're going to hide within those spaceships, man. All right. While the world, various parts of the earth are getting hit with thermonuclear missiles and the Lord is destroying Esau and our enemies, we're going to be in the chariots safe and sound. You see? Matthew 24:30. I'll end it with these two. It says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall the tribes of the earth mourn. And that's basically what's being said in Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. All right? That, they're going to be groaning, for anguish of spirit. It says, all the tribes of the earth shall mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. It says clouds, multiple chariots. Yahushai's fathership and various other chariots, they're going to be burning people, all right? When you read the scriptures, there's more detail. For time's sake, I'm only grabbing these, but there's more details about it later, throughout the scriptures. The chariot. Hey, you go read Isaiah 66, the last few verses. It says, um, yeah, the Son of Man, they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. And that's exactly what's being detailed here in Isaiah 26 and 20. Once we're in the chariots, we're going to be hiding from the indignation, because the Heavenly Father sent forth for us to get picked up by the chariots, or we're part of that number. And it's going to be beautiful, man. The strangeness of our salvation, man. It's going to be beautiful. To the world, it'll be strange. To us, it'll be beautiful and a sight to see. Lord's will, we're part of that elect, man. Lord's will, man. All right. But that's all I wanted to bring out real quick through the Spirit, man. The strangeness of our salvation. To the unlearned, it's strange. To us, it's a beautiful thing. So, Lord's will, we're part of that number, man, that are allotted salvation. But with that, I want to give all praises, going honor to Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahushai B'Hashem, Rachak with Dash. Double honors unto my elders and apostles, great millstone, mature them in that rule well and taught us this truth. Peace, blessings, and salutations to thee, like as always. Shalom.